我是开上地区的吧。我这
嗯
期这趟打在历史个里和往常常的打得强的市场区，是要不没劲呢。商业没都做了，不要再有了嘛，他说那里虽然没别度假，我
嗯
说商业没都是，
嗯
那个别强了，
嗯
人家说你嘛，但人家说好了，那那么个有了，但那个嘛那么个有了，就是但是人家是这种，但是他说那么不是娘了吧，他说家
嗯
东了嘛种下，但冬天他说起码那边跟对呀，就工作别，啊，给像咱们了有些老工作。小
嗯
子这没用，咱那么可能商业也没得事，可是呢，你嘛工作都不看得当意思。这他平常工作要不钱都是，我说
嗯，
你嘛给看下
他
钱的，
唱把到了个了。
我说你嘛偏嘛拖呢，我把几米的，要不这个钱嘛都是，工作别
嗯
动，咱们的钱下子这里他现在要不钱都是特别那样的，俺咱们
嗯
这个没用头那样的，有了咱们钱你给当年不过我们没看，他当样的，俺这
嗯
里用多。
嗯
那么的是拿做，但这方面上嘛的啊么就没就嘛是那啊或商业要么是，那做牌要不是学的过去，那做要不是那前面的几个，这边做那个了。
嗯，第三个松巴拿了头的。
那相当于我大概搿种其他的啥的，你把这里，但是你别拿这里，但
啊，
总把这里，
你把拿了了，
人他你把搿种的是啥的往上说，
你
这种的那
把拿了了。
不是那那边更穷嘛，总啥讲，
嗯。
嗯
Yeah.
嗯
So we're in those 10 things that are easily mistaken. And that's we already started with verse number 2, but there's a little bit more to be said about it. So verse number 2 said it is possible to mistake passion for loving kindness and compassion. And so it's now it can be that for example in the old days and back in Tibet now it may be that we say that if somebody's really like a lama for example is really wonderful and so on, but then it really actually more comes not really out of loving kindness and really more of attachment. So for example in back in Tibet in Adana monastery where Drupal is from in the old days during the Cultural Revolution, there were some lamas who were beaten and really abused, even by some of the officials who or those who sided with no, with the and all those perpetrators. And so, anyways, so first they were really abusing and beating them, and but then later on, once the dust had settled, then they spoke really well of these lamas. So first they were the abusers, and then they spoke really well and said how wonderful they are and so on. And then so these people were just basically seen as kind of hypocrites, and we would say that. So they just say whatever kind of suits them at the moment, but they're whatever good or bad they say doesn't really mean so much. And so that's what some people do, and I know they always they kind of admire and they praise and they say these wonderful things, but often it's basically fluff and it doesn't really come from sincerity.
我他这里总把这个话，他写建议就总把咱逻辑总把你那啥有噻，我他写建议总把这那他这就张我说，我让你总把你把这有的哇，我他写建议总把是会啥的，逻辑总把像他在逻辑把过面，这样他那种伢子我们说把话就在说话的嘛，说把话现在这他总把确实弄什么这逻把这就样的了这，他让你总把那把谁讲，那不在逻把让你总把它讲下去有了。我这张
Hmm.
逻辑总把写在那个啥里。我听你们的，然后上头这个的是，他这说到是然后去过的是，
Hmm. And then we come to verse number 3. And so that says, it is possible to mistake mind made emptiness for the natural emptiness of all things. So there's a risk of confusing the emptiness that we mentally fabricate and the actual emptiness. And so, for example, there's the natural emptiness of things. So things are that's their nature, and then there is the fabricated emptiness. For example, we recite a mantra like the Om Svabhava mantra, and say all phenomena are naturally pure and so on. So it's kind of mind made. We bring that up in our mind, and so there's it's possible that one may confuse them, that what we just make up with our mind, the conceptual, intellectual sort of emptiness, becomes like the real one when it's not. So that is something we have to be careful about recognizing.
다 체제이 동바전 다 동바的rangi一开的东巴人吧，也都慢的 rangi 没着吧。我这里也是都把整体上车点这个，现在我们这边学校呢，这种康体电竞之外，康体电这电竞之外，就高发米，咱高发有嘛，七八有嘛，七八有嘛，我这七八高发有嘛，七八有嘛，七八有嘛，细的有嘛，大块的设定的有嘛，爬着的，少量的有嘛，爬着的有嘛。我特地在通过这一些特地才去，然后一万些多呀，要买的是多的呢。我在东巴去，我在周八真的把年娃写送的这边的，我在东巴你，通常被东巴你三百多送给妈妈，300强吃都是，我这种多。
Um, and so what this is to say is that the the very nature and the essence of all things is that from the very beginning, everything is devoid of any true existence, devoid of any elaboration, devoid of existence and non-existence, of being and non-being. It is said in the root verses of the middle way. It says that which is produced through dependent origination is without cessation and without arising, and without annihilation and without permanence, without coming and without going, neither being different nor the same. It is the calming of all conceptual elaborations. It is perfect peace. And to that noble, perfect Buddha who taught, to the perfect noble Buddha who taught this, I prostrate.
我真的就是没来的这种多，可这种是一从线了下巴上，一从线也能东巴音吧，说线不下了回来这当，没讨论也就吧，没讨论也就下来你。我听你不能那都有说，但听不能压根看有的是，我听这种多，我听也没在当啊，都是年年轻的，说，但年龄刚说这么多当啊，做起过说，那这帮开始东北你的想在公庙的人多，我这现在这几百强的或者东北你这逻辑东北你，我这逻辑东北你听讲其他看头有嘛的，那说嘛，因为像你们讲了，满人嘛，全把讲呢，那在广东那经常在年年跟讲说这，说的。在两苗的恰好呢，这咱们说就把那么也从这点呢，这两苗这点呢，这也从像下容这个，那么说老就你差不多这你啥我说的差不多，那老嘛就话，你就过去了，这当这大概这可以让东北你就怕这工作啊。我东半年的，咱上嘛说个东半年的，东半年是工资的那个，这东半年的工资这老少条到了，这你不这样，这上这基本上差不多，这东半年的，我这那高油，现在我那有的是那两个看我的什么那里边，我真的光明面见啥新巴汤，光明面见啥新巴汤，我光明面见啥这新闻的，但是跟那种这马球吧，这垃圾这见啥新闻的，俺就话没办法。现在这两家吧，现在这成了点的盘价送来，现在在涨板股，当然国民党的么股票上，但现在是点不这样股，但是我明明这是新的，那你点不上嘛？他我现在在两用的这结婚，我谁过来，他是留个啥了我这你了，那都有这么多么来的。
That's it. Okay. And so Milarepa had said that it is possible to mistake the primordial emptiness that dawns within the mind and the mind made, a non-conceptual emptiness. And so there's a danger of mixing those two up, because they may look similar but are not quite the same. And so the way to figure it out is a practitioner has to find the true meaning of emptiness through direct experience. They have to actually practice it. So some people, they think about, they talk about emptiness. They say that I'm meditating on emptiness, or they talk about emptiness. But this is just kind of a concept, a mental construct, just thinking about emptiness. And often they believe that this then is their meditation, but it becomes mind made. And so instead, the way we find it is when the mind is in a calm and undistracted and mindful state, and we can sustain that state, we may come to see or come to experience the primordial emptiness. However, the state of calm, or the state of shamatha, of calm, is also can be similar to emptiness. So therefore, one must not confuse that. And so, of course, in the beginning, as a beginning practitioner, we will always elaborate a little. There will always be some concept in the mind. But so some really just speak about emptiness, and they say it's all empty, or they just meditate on emptiness, and that is then what really becomes totally mind made. If we don't actually see that it's totally mind made, then it becomes just another form of grasping in our mind. And so this is what Milarepa warned about. He said that these states can look quite similar, but they are not the same. And so then Milarepa said, if you meditate with clarity, and with stability in the non-dual nature, and you allow your mind to rest in its natural state, this is where a real recognition arises. And that it does arise on the basis of shamatha, of calm abiding. Um, so you have a calm mind from which the realization arises, but then some people still think, they confuse that calm state of shamatha for the realization, and they think that they have already realized non-meditation when they have reached a state of shamatha. So their meditation may go quite well, they may meditate quite well, and that may appear as similar to that realization of emptiness. That's what Milarepa warned about.
他希
So
望这些其他呢，真秋季演绎，秋季演绎到前三都是有，是吧？但秋季演绎在这里上多些，他现在提的是听到有的其他去来去下去那去下那也话有么了，对呢这张其他的马下班那里，当时一块看的同那等等，当时一块一些的同嘛这，恰因说的恰的情况是那这也都同的是，我在宇宙吧，他们这一场车的嘞。一些上特地没来吧，但一些的这你们特地没吧，别讲去了去小马的马小吧那也我这旅游吧是了，我这秋天是了的是，我这种罗在这前段时间在路去呢，他的东半年的让你出不了马的上，他就那上马的让你出马上站不了，你怕乱七八这起，我这里这起从这前头了不的，这路就那就这开两个马的，是说前头人的。我到这上这听网络呀，这现在的到啊这当，首先东把这下头就说装这呢，你们那些的没地方上的，他甚至有啥的，关键跟你们要提供的，这东西去这下头，他那就没什么错没都让那的，上甚至出来了，谁个啥的，我这样的他非常一次下问题，咱们门头的你们那去呢，说相对来说要过是蛮通还是你们那几个不啥的，我这前段时间那给的嘛着吧。今天嘛着吧，我这是什么其他事给的吧？我听上那样人家对说的是，
um, second, um, and so now we move on to the next verse, and that is verse number 4. One second. And so it says, it is possible to mistake the nihilistic view for Dharmadhatu. So it is possible to regard the Dhamma Dhatu like from a nihilistic perspective. So it is said in a text called the Mahamudra drop or the Tika. And there it says, the commentary on Mahamudra, it says, just as water is poured into water, or just as butter is poured into butter, the primordial wisdom of your own mind, what that sees whatever is there perfectly as it is, to that one I bow down. So what it means is that now when the so when there's no more difference between now your own mind and what it perceives, it is like merging water into water, and that view is free from any elaboration. Is that if and that can be mistaken for a view of nihilism, where one thinks of there's nothing whatsoever, nothing really exists. For example, one even denies the karma, that karma actually really exists. So some people actually they do they think about emptiness, and then they come to the conclusion that means nothing exists. So there's no karma, nothing at all. So it's possible that these kind of ideas may arise in the mind when one meditates in this emptiness, that nothing at all exists, and then there's this danger that one goes into a nihilistic view, and then this becomes like a mind-made emptiness, that where one doesn't really accept karma, cause and effect. So, for example, some say that it's all empty, and like it doesn't matter. They don't really believe in karma much, and so and then. So for them, it is important. Now for us, it's important then to go beyond that and continue to practice, continuously, to consistently practice the correct view, and that is until you really see the nature of the mind. So when it comes to meditating in emptiness, there's this danger of falling into this nihilistic mistake.
근데 동반이
So,
나 다니 나写了穷了，碰完就是早晚写的嘛，这种我的东半年大家这样我从那写了穷的通给的意思，或者种东西嘛给我去吧就有那么的，这可我嘛就有啥了吧？东半年打发了多少？那东半年打发了谁？你妈在莫扎当有谁？这莫扎当的啥？这老马路的车费来，这马路还啥子？不莫扎苏其实，你不知道意思。但不去马来西亚，这东半年的话，他反正说真是不，那么的，啥子国家那么都是，
Jadi,
真的，我这
mau
这
tetap
那
semua.
嘛大不了嘛，但多要嘛，那国大，多去马来西亚，
Atau yang
老马路的，那
mana?
那么的可能意思呢？这东半年的那不拉是，这多那东半年的话真是不，但多说的，真多么都是不，俺可以在那到你嘛，你我去吧，在那到。这老嘛这了噻，不过他想去那路多少，好像3节是你老少，这3节是要啥？这也这也我的这卡不做一些吧，这卡不做就真的啥，这他就3节没到这个是，好了，那
Uma sahabat sirap nala kada sungsung
东半年
di
大年从大洋年把大洋老费大从那有这样多，大年呢，接了穷了碰完就是。
oh oh
这个才是嘛了，这真想想
mhm
这个，他经常说的，那么用的呢，有两个词了，对，是没当过的。
mhm mhm
嗯，
okay Mari. Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, so there is this quote in the Entering the Middle Way by Nagarjuna. It says, so those of a smaller intelligence, if they don't understand emptiness correctly, then that will lead to their own ruin. And from his homeland, there's this Lama, and it's like, everything is empty. So
对，拆解的要我回去干嘛的？那这俺我是没呢。你呢？
The that
信都对，可得。
catchy song.
要不，然后他那前头他在给下，他说你嘛那得是气势，我嘛都，
Oh,
然后这那的，那嘛写这个嘛，那可嘛都，你呢？Yeah, maybe okay. It is okay. Maybe we share dedication. Then you can song. Today, Ina, I think she's very late now for Kalak. Europe, Australia, almost her Kalak. Um, yeah, we today in July 1st, maybe together. Look, maybe, do we? Yeah, maybe okay. Now today this okay.
Glorious, holy, venerable, precious
Something.
lineage lamas, divine assembly of Yadams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, heroes and heroines, Yogini and assembly of Dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions, please heed me. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all sentient beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, pride, and jealousy not arise within my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. Even at death, may the torment of suffering not arise. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such, and in the pervasive clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo.
Ina. Ina. Ina.
Hello.
그럼 그만 둬.
Sorry, catchy song. Oh,
다들
근데 고도 된다?
다들 그만도 다들 송송송마.
Oh, okay.
야, 다 전에 저小时候在杨家那边面，你知道嘛？他我把东西就经常同时间做嘛。
Mm.
但是
Oh,
他
so
啊，他曾经常影响，
ngayon kaya ako catchy. Okay.
让他蛮好，现在挺用。
Uh-huh. Okay. So that I don't know what you heard about it, but there was a story about the Lama Ricola
对，对蛮多。
about yeah, a lama that he knew that who was always talking about emptiness, he would always say that everything is empty, everything's empty. And so one day he was driving in a car with someone, and they were approaching a red traffic light, and then the driver was slowing down, approaching the light, and then the Lama said, don't stop, it's all empty. There's nothing really exists. But he said, what are you saying? It's not loud. We have to stop.
사소해. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Maybe more more here. Yeah, okay. Good night. Happy July 4th. See you next week. Okay. See you next week. 나 너가 지난번에 안 보냈어.
I'm sorry, keep dropping out.
자, 마송한테. 야, 나 샤, 그만해. 영상 마송으로 와.
Uh-huh.
자, 오케이. 한 지마
Yeah. So
사고지마.
anyways, so he said that. Yeah. Okay.
사고지마 주 둔바라. 로. 그러면 너 왜?
Okay. So I guess we stop here. We called on not to.
사고지마 주 둔바라.
So I think Ruben said we stop here now. We meet next week at 7.
Yeah, 7 o'clock next Friday. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Good night. Happy July 4th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lama Rinpoche la.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ina.
Thank you, Ina.
Thank you, Ina.